It's been a while. Been very busy. It's been speaking to a couple of brothers out there about trying to come up with a better plan, learning how to produce this. And I appreciate their help. And that's Shalom 777, Trump of Philly 2. Appreciate you guys. I'd like to give all praises to you, Hawashai, thanking him for bringing me here and giving this word out to my people, and hope that some edification goes out to you brothers and sisters out there. On this video we can just talk about the power that Esau has with his money, and praying for the poverty of Esau and all the heathen nations out there. And I was trying to think of what verses I can use to kind of display what I'm trying to say, but I'm gonna do my very best here. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start with Genesis 17. Uh, 12 to 13. Okay. Pray that this edification goes out to you guys, and hopefully it sticks. Only been in this word for 9 months already, and trying to come up with things to present to you guys is very challenging because of my schedule, but that's no excuse for me to go out there and at least try to put a 5-minute video like my brother says. Genesis 17, 12 to 13. And he shall, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, that every man child in your generation, he that is born in the house or brought in with money of a stranger, which is not thy seed. I'm trying to understand what this verse is saying, and my understanding of it, maybe you guys can elaborate more on if my interpretation is correct. That we as Israel are in the Lord's house, okay, and we were supposed to be, and just for not listening to God's commandments, we were going to be sold as slaves. And I'm saying that the money of the stranger, it's the same thing that it said in Deuteronomy 20:68, we will be bought as slave men and slave women. And I'm just showing the connection with money, that money is not all what it's cut out to be. It's kind of lead to either destruction or to some kind of evil towards our nation. And which is not thy seed. So money is not who is money connected to? It's not connected really too much to Israel. God said we were going to be impoverished, and it doesn't give, that being said, we're always going to have to fight twice as hard or 3 times as hard just to get our voices heard or actually make that dollar. A lot of times Esau is trying to cut us, a deal, and we already cut them a deal, but they want a really good deal. And it gets to a point where you just say, what, I'm not gonna do that for that cheap. I'm sorry. Go find someone else. And I learned that from my wife. not just taking jobs, because Issachar, man, we work cheap. We're very, very cheap, and we work very, very hard, and we're very good at what we do. Yeah, we get a lot of work, but it's still not enough to pay the bills, and money is connected directly to Esau, directly, and God said he's not thy seed. So you got to make a distinction. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, acts like a duck, then you kind of need to know, money and Esau kind of go hand in hand here. And he that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for everlasting covenant. God says you can't make money your everything. You gotta be able to know your limits. You just can't break your knuckles to the bone because you need to pay your rent. There's times you have to pay. You have to do that. Okay, there's times you have to do that, Israel. I'm a prime example of that. I don't live a really rich life. I lived a impoverished life almost my entire life, and I'm not gonna pass this on to my kids. I'm not gonna pass this on to my wife. I'm not gonna pass this on to nobody, man, because it stays with me. I learn from my mistakes. I know who I am, and you have a clear direction. Like I was saying in the last video, we have a clear direction now, Israel, to do things the right way, and that even includes loving your brother. When your brother's going through some tough times, it's always good to have your brother, to call on. Hey, man, you know what? This is what I'm going through. Is there anything you can, there's a scripture right here. And usually with those kind of bros like that, bring out scriptures like that, you get a new insight, a new understanding, a different avenue of understanding. And God, his ways, not your ways. So when a brother comes out and he's been in the Word, he's been talking to his father-in-law, he'll bring out a scripture that you haven't heard before, and you're like, dang, man, I was doing this the wrong way. And that's what brotherhood is all about, man. It's always been about that. Well, that's just besides the point, Let's go ahead and continue here to Matthew. Matthew's 26. Shalom, Israel. Love you guys. Let's see, 26, 14, 15. Okay. Okay. I'm just making a connection here with money again, Israel. And just let you know, we got to be careful with money, especially who we're getting it from. And I've made the distinction a little while back, after learning about the word for about 6 months. You start to understand, man, different things. And you're like, holy crap, man, I can't believe I actually did that. And I can't believe I took that route. And it's led you to nothing but poverty. So when disciples with Judas, with disciples with God, you got to remember, God made, he knew there was going to be a traitor amongst his people. And this is one precept that I can actually go on to, so you can get some more elaboration on it. When one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priest, he said unto him, what will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? This is when Judas was thinking about betraying Yahushai. And it's funny how Yahushai knew this, because when you're in the spirit, man, you're thirsty for God's knowledge, and you're always trying to understand and know who your Father is, and as opposed to the way Christianity has taught you. You have it's a very intimate feeling that you get when when you're being betrayed, or there's a connection that you have with that person. And when you have two spirits that are like-minded, there's no disruption. There's cohesion. And when you have a spirit that's not really too much into the Word of God, and you got one brother that is, you already know there's a disruption there. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny. It's very interesting how Yahushua knew how to make that distinction, and he knew way far ahead. And it's awesome to actually see this in one of the precepts. And they had coveted me with him for 30 pieces of silver. So God was going to be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, man, for money. I mean, knowing that you're standing to the man, next to the man who created the universe, who created all the animals, the sea, everything that you see and you cherish, God created it all. And he was going to be given away for 30 pieces of silver, man. Man, that just sucks, man. Let's just keep going here. We're going to go on to 20 and 21. And now when when the even was come, he has sat down with the 12, and he has said, and as they said, I'm sorry, Israel, Shalakian, as if they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you, no one of you shall betray me. And there were exceeding sorrow, and I began, and even one of them said unto the Lord, is it I? And he said, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same that shall betray me. And I think Judas knew the gig was up, man. I kind of knew. I mean, it almost seems like Judas knew that God was kind of almost pointing him out, but it almost seems like he wanted to get a clarification from him. And it's funny how Yahweh didn't want to. He gave these little parables, and then when everything came, when all the disciples came to, actually when those the army came to come take Yahweh, man, that's when Judas got exposed. That was all because of money. All of it was because of money. And going to 1 Timothy. First Timothy 6:10. For the love of money. Oh, let me go ahead and say this. 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from their faith, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Anybody, Israel, this you already know this is going to us, okay? Any Christian who tries to interpret this any other way, it's full of crap, okay? You already know how we are with our money. Every single penny counts, and there's times we get want to help our family out, and we're over here ending up in a situation we shouldn't be into, and we're over here coveting ourselves to an and anytime you start to depend on money, you'll find out that, I'll give you an example. I do mobile car audio and security. So let's just say I get a job, and then it's scheduled in for Monday at 2 or something, and then the person doesn't show up. You already had budgeted this money in, and you had spent the money, you took your kids out or whatever, or you went to go buy some detergent, and now you can't pay your rent or whatever, and you're over here in turmoil now, like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm gonna tell you guys a little. As we continue these precepts here, I'm gonna teach you something. I'm gonna show you something that I learned about money. So I'm gonna go and keep going here. And anybody who tries to put money first before Yahweh Shai, you're gonna be freaking impoverished forever, Israel. So anybody who's Israel and is not following the commandments and is putting money before God, you're gonna have a lot of sorrows, man. It says right here. So let's see. We're gonna go into Hebrews. Hebrews 13 and 5. Okay. Hebrews 13 and 5. Let your conversation be without covetousness. Covetousness is something that doesn't belong to you. Okay? Wanting something that doesn't belong to you. And is content with such things as he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Okay. And this one right here, you just can't be taking stuff that don't belong to you and saying that, God's blessing you. You got to be able to know that, God owns everything. You should know that if you want something, you got to be able to go up to God and say, you know what, Lord, I need my bills paid. I don't want to be worrying about my bills. I'm tired of worrying about my bills. I need for you to just take these bills away from me. I'm going to give you an example. This month, Israel was really, really tough. I had school, my wife and everything, and kids and rowdy neighbors, and I was slow for this entire month, and we didn't have. It was last week, like, what was it? The 23rd. We didn't have no more than $100 to the rent. Okay. And when I had fasted, and I wanted God to move in my life because I was just tired of all the attacks, and I wanted to pay for my wife's sickness and pay for prosperity, pay for a lot of things. It took about 3 days, and it was like 23rd, 24th, and boom, I had so much work. I have more enough now to pay my rent. I have already money for next month's rent already saved up. And I'm going to tell you this, the flesh likes to play with you. It likes to say, you know what, you're going to have to go out there and look for work. You're going to have to go out there and work for the white man. You're going to have to go out there and put up with their BS. And you're going to have to do it because you need to feed your family. And I have a skill and stuff, and I'm looking for a career change. But I tend not to trust money. I don't trust money. I don't tend to put money as my priority. I always put Yahushua first, and sometimes it gets a little hard sometimes, because like what happened this month. On the 21st, you only got less than 9 days to pay rent. Not having no more than $100 for it for your rent, and now having an abundance, and now I'm gonna be able to take my wife and my kids out to eat. Stuff like that, man. It's an incredible thing when you put God first, and everything falls into place. Israel, you have to trust me on that, okay? And you got to remember, God always works to the last minute. He always does, always does. So even when it's day 20, 25, 26, or even 29, day 29, and the first is around the corner, you got to believe that God will come through for you. If you prayed that you didn't want to worry about these bills, you didn't want to worry about anything, trust me, He's a God under control, Israel. He does. You got to believe that. I'm going here to Luke. And I mean, anything that would go bad, it goes bad with me. So I mean, it almost seems like I have the worst of luck. But that doesn't stop me, from trying to be fruitful and produce fruit for my family and for my people. Let's go on to Luke 16:11. If therefore he had not been fruitful in the unrighteousness of mammon is money, who will commit? Okay, let me go and start this Shalakia. Luke 11. If therefore he have not been fruitful in unrighteousness mammon, who will commit to your trust in the true riches? If you guys are going to be trusting in money, you're not going to be able to understand what God has in store for you guys. And this paper that you guys or not you guys, the world likes to hold as God, you're going to remember that God had your kingdom since in the beginning of Genesis, people, and it's been sitting there empty. So I mean, an everlasting life, I mean, that's the true riches for me, and me trusting Yahushua and knowing that He's got everything under control. I don't even have to worry about any of that stuff, man. There's people who actually worry about it, and they'll tell me, hey man, you got you got the. I go, yeah, I understand. I know I do. So what? And I work, and all of a sudden I get the money for the rent. So it's not permitted for us as children, as children of our father. Our father. When you have a child, you don't have him pay the rent. You don't have him pay bills. They you take care of them. You give them the clothes, you give them food, you give them everything they need. The child's not supposed to worry about anything. And us as Israel and us as his children, we're not supposed to be worrying about anything like that. So when you, in the first of the month, I always pray the Shabbat's prayer, and hope that God blesses my hands and enlarge my territory and increase me. And it works, Israel. It really takes the weight off your shoulders. So you might want to try that, and just declare it to God and say, look, I don't want to deal with this no more. I'm going to give it to you. So I'm going in Ephesians 4:28. Okay, Ephesians 4:28. Let him he that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor. This is how you're supposed to work. This is how you're supposed to make your money, Israel. Working with his hands, the thing which is good, that he may have and give to him that is needeth. You know, that's a really awesome verse, Israel. So you got to be able to, work with your hands, do things, and honest man's work. And if you're able to help someone else who's an Israelite or something going through some tough times, man, you're just gonna increase your kingdom, man. So help a brother out, man. If you have the resources to help him out, it doesn't have to be money. It can even be food. It could be a ride to the store. Make sure he's following the commandments, though. The fringes. Make sure he's got the beard. The whole nine, Israel. So, if he doesn't do it, you need to correct him. So let's go in here. 2 Corinthians. Oops. Eight and 2. Okay. 2 Corinthians 8 and 2. How that in the great trial of affliction and the abundance of their joy and the deep poverty abound until the riches of their liberality. Sorry, I have a little tongue problem there. When you're going through affliction, and like I was telling you, Israel, I have to come up with the rent and everything, and I got my education and everything else. It's a lot on my plate, but it's nothing I can't handle. Issachar, we're used to working under pressure and working very, very hard, so it's not a big deal for me. It gets overwhelming sometimes, but I don't let it take my happiness away, knowing that who I am and the promises that are given to me, and knowing that I'm chosen. It will never take away from that, and that will keep you away from poverty. And putting God first will always make you richer. You just have to believe me. And you gotta know that Israel, when you have these little giveaways that Esau has, you gotta remember, I've seen some of these places give away toys before, and they actually pray, Israel, for these toys. And these are heathens praying for these toys. And you know who they're praying for? They're not praying to our Messiah. They're praying to another Messiah. And if you're receiving gifts, it's like receiving gifts from, like back in the Old Testament with Baal. That's Baal worship. You shouldn't be worshiping. And you gotta remember, when people get these gifts, their attitudes change. They get really, angry because you got one gift better than the other, and you get this, and these are Israelites hating other Israelites. It's astonishing, man. Your mind blows off. Like, dang, dude, I can't believe you over here hating on another person who got some gifts and stuff. But that being said, Israel, you shouldn't be taking them. You shouldn't be taking them. Especially from another nation. I'm gonna be, I'm going to college to make a better life, but for my family and for myself. But I'm also gonna do something to help my nation. And God knows what my plans are, and I can't wait, when that time comes when I'm able to help my nation out, you know. And I've always had this in my heart. So that being said, we're gonna go ahead and continue into Matthew's. I'm gonna conclude this, Israel, pretty soon. Matthew's 19:24. Okay. Matthew's 19:24. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich man to enter in the kingdom of God. Well, that kind of just says it all in a nutshell, Israel. Just trust God, Israel, and let Him take over your life. Just understand that, we already know who we are, Israel, and you're a special people. And understanding that and understanding your Father, that He has everything under control, that's gonna get you into the kingdom. You're not worrying about things that are trivial. Those kind of and free thought, and keep your mind in the Word and influenced. Having the words come out of your mouth to influence other people, and then those people come out and start influencing other people, and then you start creating a fire. And this fire is the awakening of our people. It is letting them know that 400 years of your lives is all going to come to an end. It has come to an end, and we control this earth now. And we as Israel, we need to take this land back. This land belongs to us. And a lot of the times when I put my foot down, it's harsh. It's very harsh with the neighbors. It's harsh with management. But the way I see it now is, this is my land. And since this is my land, and all these buildings are here without my permission, I'm going to tell you what to do. And Israel, you need to have that authority. You need to have that authority. Like, I have brothers out there, I see with Philly, Trouble of Philly, calling people out, man. You didn't call them out. That's what I've been doing, calling them out. And guess what? It cuts so deep, they don't even want to email you or text you. They don't want to have that meeting with you no more. Because the truth cuts very, very deep, Israel. We got these words that come out of our mouth are sharper than any two-edged sword. So let's go and read I love Obadiah. So this is the people who actually control the money. And these damn devils right here. And this is Esau and all the heathens out there. Obadiah 1:5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Well, you're gonna get cut off by knowing who you are in the Bible, Esau. You already know who you are. Every time when we say the word Esau, I can see you close your eyes and raise your shoulders up like you know who we're talking about. Your name could be Jacob, or it could be Skylar. But when you hear the word Esau, it's an automatic, like if we tapped you on the shoulder and surprised you. Yeah, it's you. That's you. How would they would they have not stolen till they had enough? You already know these guys steal everything. How did they get Africa? How did they get South America? How did they get everything, man? Everything was stolen. If the grape gatherers came to thee, were they at least in grapes? They don't leave nothing. You gotta remember, man, Israel, our Father has given us everything, man. And everything that was given to us has been ripped away from us because we refuse to listen to God. And every time we listen to God, you're going to fall to folly all the time. All the time. And I don't like to see my brothers and sisters in folly, and it sucks to see, go on Instagram and then you have this brother being shot, or you got cops dropping his brother, and then, or, you got, like another thing, you got cops running over other people, and they're not even paying attention. Man, that's just that's just stupid, man. And you gotta know, Israel, that these are the end times. I don't know how many times we've heard this in our past, in our Christianity times, when we were thinking, oh yeah, this is the end times, God's coming really. No, Israel, you know what's up. You know the gig is up. God's coming really soon. He's just around the corner. So you got to remember, we're living under grace right now. You need to wake up, Israel, and whoever's not following his commandments, you need to follow them quickly. Because it's like a child. If a child screws up, the parent will rectify that problem, and you will be rectified, Israel. God will deal with you, and you're not gonna like the way He deals with you. It might be prison, it might be a broken leg, it might be a car crash, it might be something, losing your job or losing your wife or whatever it is. But you need to follow these commandments, Israel. You really do. It will bring brand new life into you. I promise you. This is things will be my last, Israel, and actually I'm just gonna do one more. Revelations 2:9. Okay, Israel. I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty. Man, I know He knows my poverty. I know He does. But thou art rich. That's the promises, girls and boys. That's it right there. We're rich already. And I know the blasphemy of them that say that are Jews and that are not, and that are the synagogue of Satan. Every time when I run into a Jew, a fake Jewish person, and I expose them for who they are, they don't like contacting me ever. When I bring out the precepts, there's no contest, Israel. They know who we are, and they've been hiding this for a long time. And it sucks that we have to come and find out just 50 years ago that this truth starts to come out. We should have known this 400 or 500 years ago, before our captivity. Our ancestors should have just woken the hell up and just say, you know what, we need to follow the commandments, and we need to pass this on to our family members. Like I was telling you guys, the word Jesus Christ doesn't even exist in this house no more. It doesn't. And if my little girl, she's only 3 years old. No, 4 years old. I'm still like she's 4 years old. When you say Jesus Christ, she will get mad at you. She will say, his name is Yahushai. His name is not Jesus. I want you to say Yahushai. She'll come out and correct you. Okay, this is Northern Kingdom, girls and boys. This is it, man. We're changing the family. And Israel, us as being shepherds of this word, we're changing this world little by little. And before you know it, Esau's gonna be our housemaids. We're gonna be taken as servants and handmaids, and that's gonna be awesome. Well, Shalom, Israel, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all my brothers and sisters out there. I appreciate the guidance I've been getting. I appreciate, you know, being in this word. I appreciate being chosen. I appreciate Yahweh Shai. I thank him for everything. You know, he knows he's carried me through so much, and without him, you know, I wouldn't be here. You know, and I just, you know, I want to do my best, and I want to make my Father happy. And that being said, Shalom Israel, peace and love to your sisters and brothers, and death to Esau. Peace.